Safiya came to Sunday school today with Morgan. I've invited Morgan for 3 years, and she never came with me.
It's not about who gets the credit. The most important thing is that she came to church today. Guess what? You're tuned in to the one and only Keys for Kids. So, would you be angry if you invited a friend to church but they actually showed up with someone else? Your first thought might be jealousy. After all, it was your idea for them to come to church in the first place. Remember, sharing your faith with others is not a competition. It doesn't matter who gets the credit because God is the one who helps people grow in their faith. 1 Corinthians 3:6 says, I, Paul, planted the seed in your hearts, and Apollos watered it, but it was God who made it grow. Our story today is called, Who Gets the Credit? Morgan was in Sunday school today, Leah announced with a frown. Why do you look so down about it? Asked Mom in surprise. I think that's great. Didn't you invite her yourself a few times? That's the point, said Leah. I've been trying to get her to come to church for 3 years, and she's always said no. Then today she shows up with Safiya. Well, the important thing is that she came, Mom said. She was interrupted by the doorbell. That must be Grandma with those flower plants she said she'd bring over. After Grandma left, Leah and her mom decided to plant the flowers right away. You know something, honey? Mom said as she handed Leah a trowel. These plants remind me of you and Morgan. Me and Morgan? Leah looked confused. How? Mom dug in the dirt as she explained. Well, Grandma planted the seeds for these flowers and nursed them along until they developed healthy roots. Now we'll back up Grandma's efforts and care for them. And in a way, you planted a seed in Morgan. You first invited her to learn more about Jesus at church, and then Safiya backed up your efforts by inviting her too, right? I guess so, Leah said, still pouting. But why couldn't Morgan have come when I invited her? Mom shook her head. I don't know, but remember, Leah, sharing Christ is not a competition. God is using both you and Safiya to reach Morgan. She paused for a moment, then asked, Do you remember what the Apostle Paul said about himself and a man named Apollos? Which one of them deserved credit for reaching the people of Corinth? Leah scrunched up her eyebrows as she thought about it. Actually, neither, she said at last. They both helped. But God is the one who really deserved the credit. Mom nodded. Yes, and that's the way it is with Morgan, too. You and Safiya, and perhaps several others, are helping to reach her with the good news of Jesus, but it's God who is at work in her heart and life. He's the only one who deserves credit. So, what about you? Are you happy when people you've shared Jesus with come to know him as their Savior, even if they respond to someone else's invitation to trust in him? It's important to work together with other Christians in helping people know about Jesus. It's not a competition, and since God is the only one who can change people's hearts, none of us can take the credit. When anyone comes to Christ, we can rejoice together and thank God for making the seeds we planted grow. Our key verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6.
I, Paul, planted the seed in your hearts, and Apollos watered it, but it was God who made it grow.
And our key thought today, work together to share Jesus. Sometimes the best way to read a story is to hold it right in your hands and feel the pages and maybe even smell the ink. Now you can get the Keys for Kids stories just like that. We'll send them to you in the mail with your name on it and everything. That way you'll never miss a story. Plus you can play the games and write in the journal too. Get it in the mail by signing up today at keysforkids.org/subscribe. Well, as always, my name is Zach. Thanks for taking some time to listen to Keys for Kids today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.